Well, reporter Monique Mortlock has been following those protests and joins me now with the latest. Monique, it appears as though the president has finally had to step up and address the public. And of course, that we're anticipating even at 6 p.m. this evening as protests continue, marring maybe even the World Economic Forum meeting.
Yes, good afternoon, Faith. At the moment, all is quiet on the foreshore, where earlier, just in fact a half an hour ago, dozens of protesters were trying to get as close as they could to the CTICC. I just want to show you what it looks like around me, because it's a completely different scene from what we saw this time yesterday afternoon. Security has been heightened. We see several police vehicles, nyalas, barbed wire fencing all around the CTICC's perimeter. And this was obviously in response to what happened yesterday. Obviously, police wanted to ensure that what happened yesterday didn't happen today again. And in doing so, they made sure that security was heightened. And it seems that it worked, because protesters weren't able to get anywhere close to the CTICC. Earlier, we saw skirmishes between dozens of protesters who had broken off from the bigger group who were gathered at Parliament during President Cyril Ramaphosa's address. And this group were trying to get through the perimeter, but police used water cannons once again. Police used stun grenades to push back and disperse the group who ended up gathering in front of the Media 24 Centre, which is situated next to the CTICC. It seems that police's interventions have worked for today. The protesters have dispersed. As you can tell, it's really quiet here along the foreshore. And yesterday it was a completely different story. In fact, earlier today it was a different story. As you saw those skirmishes earlier today, we saw at least 3 people getting arrested, 2 men and 1 young woman who protesters say is a minor. Police haven't confirmed this, but they were taken into custody, and apparently they were taken to the police holding cells in Cape Town.
Well, Monique, it almost appears as though the going-ons and the happening, even the outcomes from the World Economic Forum, have been marred by what's been happening outside of the ICC itself. One would wonder the effectiveness of even holding the WEF in light of some of the issues that are confronting South Africa, which are becoming the big talking point, as opposed to what exactly is being implemented and what the conversations are within the ICC in itself.
And this is something that protesters were speaking about earlier today. When I asked them, how long are you going to keep this up? They were clear. It can't be business as usual. We will continue protesting. We will continue gathering where WEF is taking place at the CTICC in order to show the different leaders from around the world, in order to show the different business people who are gathering at WEF Africa that South Africa is under fire. According to the protesters, that it's not just business as usual. It should not be business as usual. And the protesters were adamant, even though the president gave the address earlier today, they were adamant that they will continue protesting today. They will even be here tomorrow.
And let's say something, Monique, about the investment aspect of it, right? So the reason why we would even have a World Economic Forum in the city of Cape Town is simply because we want to attract investors and possible investment and business opportunities to our shores. Now, with these kinds of protests and with also the effects of these protests, I mean, just looking at the visuals itself, one would wonder what impact that is having on potential investors in the country and individuals that would want to see South Africa as a place to put their money.
And, you know, Faith, I don't think that this is something that protesters even care about. They have mentioned that using some swear words, that they don't care about business, they don't care about what's going on at WEF. In fact, they want the leaders to take note that this is the country that you are thinking of investing in, a country that is plagued by gender-based violence, a country with high rape and murder statistics. And obviously what is happening inside, I mean, we saw today a disruption in the program with President Cyril Ramaphosa deciding not to go ahead with that plenary session and instead heeding the calls of the protesters and addressing them outside of Parliament. This was a positive for the protesters, even though some of them did feel as if this is, let's hope this isn't all talk. Let's hope that after this we'll see some decisive action being taken by President Cyril Ramaphosa, by the SAPS. And what some of the protesters mentioned is that we're hoping that by causing these disruptions around the World Economic Forum in Africa, that government will actually be serious and see that this is impacting business, this is impacting investments into South Africa.
Monique, we'll leave our conversation there for this afternoon, but thanks so much for joining us and sharing some light in terms of what is happening at the Cape Town ICC. Monique Murtlock giving us the latest there.